Good evening, everyone.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Oh, don't start the Spanish until after I start the interpretation. Okay, sorry about that. Today we do have Chair Rasmussen joining online as published on the agenda, but the chair, acting chair will be Corinne Huber-Levy. She will be presiding over the meeting. So please proceed.
Okay, thank you so much and welcome everyone. Welcome to our July meeting of the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commission. And thank you, Chair Rasmussen, for dialing in on your vacation time. We appreciate you being here. I'll call the meeting to order. It is 5:15 p.m. We're right on time. And I guess we can do roll call. Or you want to do translation services
Yeah, let
first?
me do the translation services first. Yes.
We're going to do roll call.
Okay. And then once I'm done with providing the translation services, the Spanish interpretation, you can speak in Spanish. So members of the public, live interpretation of this entire meeting will be provided in Spanish. To access live interpretation services in Zoom, please click the interpretation globe icon in Zoom and then select the Spanish language. So please proceed.
Okay, miembros del comisionado del consejo, esta junta se llevará a cabo también por parte de interpretación en el lenguaje, en el idioma de español. Por favor, hay un icono que está terráqueo que tiene por ahí, donde usted puede hacerle clic para poder disfrutar de su junta en el idioma de español.
All right, thank you very much.
Muchas
ahead,
gracias.
Chair. And I'll take the roll call to the chair. Okay, we'll start with Commissioner Ginevra.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Ali.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Blanco is absent. Commissioner Bocanegra is absent. Commissioner Clemmer is absent. Commissioner Ling.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Amayarnori. Thank you. Present. Commissioner Patton.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Venkatesh.
Present.
Thank you. Chair Rasmussen joining online.
Here, thank you.
Thank you. And our acting chair, Corinne Huber-Levy.
Yes, present.
Thank
Thank you.
We have quorum, so please proceed.
All right, so now we can look at the next item on our agenda, which is the approval of 2 months worth of meeting minutes from our May 27th and June 25th meetings. Can we approve? I guess we'll approve them one by one and
Yes,
ask for
yes, please.
comments. Okay, so I would ask for a motion to approve the May 27th meeting minutes. May I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Ling.
second.
And thank you, Commissioner Ginevra.
Since we have one commissioner present online, we'll need to do a verbal roll call on each motion. So for the record, we do have Commissioner Blanco present at 5:18 p.m. So I'll take the roll call to approve the May 27, 2025 minutes. Commissioner Ginevra.
Aye.
Commissioner Ali. Commissioner Blanco.
Aye.
Commissioner Ling.
Aye.
Commissioner Nori.
Aye.
Commissioner Patton. Commissioner Venkatesh.
Aye.
Commissioner Rasmussen.
Aye.
And acting chair, Commissioner Huber-Levy.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you. So now we will move to the June 25th minutes, and I would ask for a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner Rasmussen.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Ginevra. Okay, now we can move to a verbal vote.
Sure. No comments from the public, so I'll take the vote now. Commissioner Ginevra.
Aye.
Commissioner Ali.
Aye.
Commissioner Blanco.
Aye.
Commissioner Ling.
Aye.
Commissioner Nori.
Aye.
Commissioner Patton.
Aye.
Commissioner Venkatesh.
Aye.
Commissioner Rasmussen.
Aye.
And acting chair, Commissioner Huber-Levy.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. So the next item on our agenda is the review of the agenda and approval. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as it is presented?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Ling.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Nori.
Okay. I'll take the roll call. Commissioner Ginevra. Commissioner Ali.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Blanco.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Ling.
Aye.
Commissioner Nori.
Aye.
Commissioner Patton. Commissioner Venkatesh.
Aye.
Commissioner Rasmussen.
Aye.
Thank you. And Commissioner Huber-Levy.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. So now we can proceed to the next item on our agenda, which is any public comment.
Thank you. Members of the public, if you wish to comment from this room, there's a speaker slip. You can fill that out and give it to me, or you can raise your hand now. And if you want to speak on Zoom, please also raise your hand. And these are items that are not on the agenda. Go ahead. Come on up over here, please. Oh, right here. Please. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Melissa Wilson. I'm a former commissioner. I'm currently a tutor, one of the young men who is incarcerated right now. And I just want the commission to look into the step down, whether there's a step down program, which is definitely on his mind, and something that when I was at a MDT meeting recently was told that it's not on anybody's radars and couldn't be discussed. So that's my concern at the moment. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for the comment. I don't have any other hands raised, so that's end of public comment.
Okay, so we can move on to updates from our system partners, and we have Mr. Ron Reyes from the Private Defender Program. Would you be able to give us an update?
Sure, good evening. So I have data to report from June 23rd to July 28th. It's an extra week from we usually report. I don't know how it fell, but it seems like 5 weeks. So the numbers based in the 5 weeks between last meeting and today's meeting. So for 602 appointments, we had 46 in total. The breakdown for those, we had 16 detention. Out of the 16 detention, 9 of them contained allegation of 707B type of offenses. Again, 707B offenses are in the Welfare Institution Code, are that it lists certain offenses that are serious in nature, such as robbery, assault, and things of that nature. Those are considered 707B. It's an exhaustive list, but I'm just kind of giving an example here. We also had 22 cases for out of custody. Out of those 22 out of custody cases, which we assigned, one of them contained allegation of 707B. We handled 4 sealings in the past 5 weeks, and we received 28 calls from law enforcement agencies seeking consultation with youth who have been detained. We conducted 28 consultation. Out of that 28 calls, the age breakdown is 16 and 17. Were 22 of them, and we had 6 who were 15 and younger. And that's the breakdown. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Ron, we had a question last month about youth 14 and under. Did we have any youth?
You
who are-
know, my apologies. I did not.
Okay.
I do not have it, but I will send an email. I rushed out of the
Yeah,
office.
no worry.
and
Thank you.
I will get you that information via email.
Okay, great.
And then
Thank-
I will start reporting actually on it going forward at the next meeting.
Wonderful. We appreciate that. Thank
Sure.
you.
Yes.
And for the record, Commissioner Bocanegra arrived at 5:23 p.m.
And on the hotline, Ron, all the youth elected to remain silent?
That's correct. They
Yeah.
all, that there were all the youth we spoke to, they all elected not to provide any statements.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Sure.
So we can move on. Thank you very much for that update. And we have Nadia Hahn from the District Attorney's Office, I believe, is with us. Yes, on Zoom. Good evening, Nadia. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Nadia, you are unmuted, but there's maybe something wrong with your audio.
It's muting itself.
How about now?
That's good. We can hear you.
Okay,
Thank you.
good evening, everyone. In the soft period, we had 29 filings between June 25th and today. 24 of those involved felonies. And 5 of them were misdemeanor. Oh,
Oh, you can proceed.
I'm sorry, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Oh. And so I just reported that we had 29 filings this last period. 24 of them being felony filings and 5 of them involving only misdemeanors.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? I should have asked about questions for the private defender office as well, but, oh, we do have a question. We can take a question, right? Yeah.
This is a question for Ron. I was wondering if you would just discuss expungement, what that means of a record.
Yes, so we call them in the juvenile justice system sealings, not expungement. The sealings is a process of which there are several statutes that apply to them. The most common one is Welfare Institution Code Section 786, which provide that a youth upon completion of probation are entitled to have their record sealed. And it's a process that goes through the court, and there's a application that kind of automatically gets initiated upon completion of probation. It goes from probation to our office, from our office to the DA, and then to the judge who reviews it and then signs off at it. Once that happens, an order is issued, and it lists a whole host of people that have been involved in any way with the youth law enforcement agencies that was involved in the matter, probation, any other providers that were part of the probation, that the youth were involved through their probation terms. So they would have to also seal their record. So that order will get sent out and gets disseminated to all these agencies, and they have to seal their record. It is under the law is considered that the offense that had been sealed has been dismissed and have not happened. This is the most generic way. There's other, I don't want to go into all the detail that exactly. That's kind of the most common thing. There's other avenues. There's, like dismissal under 782, which is another relief that is available. So we usually assess to determine what is the best relief possible for the youth, and we'll pursue that depending on the situation. Sure.
Okay, I guess if there's no further public comment, we can proceed with a report from the probation department, and Mr. Monnier Wade is here representing the probation department. Oh, and Becky Powers, nice to see you.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm going to report out our numbers. For our total for probation, we had 360. This is for June. For diversion cases, we had 27. Court, we had 127, and on supervision, 206. We have 12 cases that have gang orders. And we had, for ethnicity and race, we had the majority were Hispanic Latino at 195, Black at 37, white at 34, and other unknown at 64. For our females, we have 85, and for our males, we have 275. And for cities, just going over the most populated would be Redwood City at 65, San Mateo at 59, East Palo Alto at 40, and out of county at 50.
Good evening, everybody. Monnier Wade, San Mateo County Probation, and I'll be reporting out on the YSC and EMP stats. Just a reminder, this is a snapshot of the last day of the month for June, okay? So June 30th, 2025. For the YSC, we had 28 males with felonies and 1 female with a felony for a total of 29. For our SYTF population, we had a total of 7 males with felonies and 1 female with a felony, for a total of 8. For our EMP population, we had 9 males with felonies, 2 males with misdemeanors, 1 female with a felony, as well as 1 female with a misdemeanor, for a total of 13. The ethnicity breakdown for the YSC, including SYTF, is 4 Black, 27 Hispanic or Latino, 1 Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander, 1 white, and 4 other, for a total of 37. For our EMP breakdown by racial ethnicity, we had 1 Black, 12 Hispanic or Latino, and 1 white, for a total of 14 for the month of June. Our average daily population was 25 male predisposition, 4 male post-disposition, and 2 female predispositions, for a total of 31. Our SYTF average daily population was 7 male post-disposition and 1 female post-disposition, for a total of 8. Our EMP population was 3 male predisposition, 4 male post-disposition, 3 females pre, and 1 female post, for a total of 11. The average length of stay in the YSC was 16 days, and the average length of stay on EMP was 48. For our bookings, we had 20 in-county bookings, as well as 6 out-of-county bookings, for a total of 26. We had 28 releases and 8 successful EMP completions. We also had 14 in-county referrals. And those are the stats for June.
Quick question, sorry. So the 2 numbers you reported non-SYTF, non-secure check, and secure check. So the total facility population 36, 8 plus 28? Or is the secure check included in the YSC?
For the ethnicity breakdown?
No, for just the population, the first 2 numbers you gave, I think.
For the population, so the total is 37, 29 for the YSC,
Okay.
8 for the secure track.
Got it, thank you.
You got it.
I had a clarifying question and then I had another question, but I'll let the other commissioners, if they have questions about the data first. So just so I'm clear, I thought last month we received a full report for May and that going forward, our data was going to be for a full month of the previous month. But then I heard you say that this was a snapshot for June. So could you just clarify on what this data was for, just so we're clear? Thank you.
So what I mean, yeah, no problem. What I mean by snapshot is that the data was captured June 30th for the month of June, the entire month of June, but it was captured the last day. So it wasn't captured before June 30th. If that makes sense?
Yes, thank you so much.
No problem.
Does anybody else have any questions?
I have a quick question, Mr. Wade, and thank you both for that data. Excellent report. You mentioned 48 days is the average for EMP. Excuse me? Okay. I think it was one of your last notes.
Yeah.
What happens after 48 days of successful completion? Is there a recommendation for discharge of probation? What's the normal process once EMP has been completed?
So for post-disposition EMP, they're given a set amount of days that they need to serve. So there's no recommendation because once those days are up, then they're off of EMP. For predisposition, typically it's until they're adjudicated or placed on a post-disposition kind of probation or EMP, and that counts the amount of days that they're on there. So that kind of fluctuates. There's no set time for pre, but typically with post, we have a set amount of time that we abide by.
And then also the behavior of the youth?
It plays a role into it, right? Like in any kind of situation, but for the most part, we abide by whatever amount of days they were ordered by the court to serve on EMP.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem, sir.
Great. If there's no further questions. thank you
Okay.
so
I
much.
think-
Oh,
I
Joanna
had
does.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Yes, I just had an issue, but I want to go through the data first. So I just want to acknowledge that we are in receipt of Ms. Clark's email as of Friday notifying us as well as all the stakeholders and service providers that youth, parents, service providers, educators, attorneys, and advocates are no longer welcome at monthly meetings, and that will be invited to come twice a year. And so I just want to put that on the record. And I replied back on behalf of the commission that we're very concerned about this because IRPs are youth-centered, and we have struggled getting these meetings going. And I spent the weekend looking into, because I facilitate the statewide meeting with all 58 counties in California for juvenile justice commissioners, I spent the weekend looking into how other counties have done this. Now, for those who may not know, we have always met monthly. It's always been open meetings. And so this was a shock and a sudden change, and it is not in line with what our partners are doing. For instance, in Alameda County, they meet every 30 days. In San Francisco, in Marin, San Joaquin, Orange County, Fresno, Los Angeles. Actually, in San Joaquin, they even say they have to meet at least once a month. Others meet every 3 months: Sonoma, Monterey, Humboldt, Contra Costa, Tuolumne. So this is a concern of ours, and I just wanted to put that out on the record. And we'll be meeting in closed session afterwards to discuss this more in detail, but I just wanted to make sure that I put that on the record. Thank you so much.
Can I respond to that? Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah,
Thank
you.
Okay, one thing I want to say is, so first, the email was not from Ms. Clark. It was from the probation department collectively, not just from Ms. Clark. And secondly, we're still having ongoing conversations, and we'll definitely connect with you once we have more traction regarding that topic. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. That's what it was signed, so I apologize for getting
No, it's
confused.
actually signed by the deputy chiefs at the bottom of in the signature line, by all 3 deputy chiefs, not just by Ms. Clark.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I have another question. Following that question, so that hasn't been finalized yet. That's just an ongoing discussion that,
So the email is it's basically, we're still having conversations to dissect how we're going to move forward, internal conversations. So that was the starting point, but we're still having ongoing conversations.
do you happen to know if maybe the commission will be asked for input during that conversation? Or is that just going to be an internal with the rest of the community? Because there's obviously a concern here. And so is it possible that we could be a part of that conversation, you think, Mr. Wade?
I mean, I think at some point we can definitely talk about it, but we want to make sure we have everything we have internal going on first, and we're on the same page before we reach out external.
Thanks, sir.
No problem, sir.
I have a quick question as well. I just want clarity because I did read over it, and I just want to make sure that there were still going to be monthly meetings, and that the meetings that you'd have with the youth weren't going to be, 6 months. I was a little confused whether or not it meant that maybe that was the frequency that the meetings would be, period, or if they would still be conducted monthly, even if it wasn't open to everyone.
That's part of our conversations that we're having internally.
I have a question that's just for clarification. I'm not fully aware of the matter, but I just wanted to ask, in general, what was the reasoning behind wanting to make these meetings more private?
Once we come to a resolution, we'll share with the masses why we have our rationale.
Okay, thank you.
We also have our Chief of Probation, John Keene, who has raised his hand, and perhaps he can provide some additional background detail on this.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I just want to say, just to kind of set the tone for this conversation, one, what we're trying to do is to come in alignment with what the legislation around this particular part of the issue says. And so, as Mr. Wade said, we want to sit down and talk about it, and we will have that conversation, and we'll have a much more definitive statement about it. So we do welcome the conversation. We'll have county council sit down with us as well to have some more defined conversation around it. And so at that point, we'll have our kind of final statement on it. But what you have is our kind of stance at the moment about it. That came from the deputy chiefs. Their kind of focus at this point is to, once again, to align with what the legislation has intended for it. So we will still be having the monthly meetings. I'll say that now. We will be still having the monthly meetings for the youth that, that are in our care. And according to the legislation, we'll definitely still have those meetings where it is, mandated by the code, by the legislation, that will be participatory with that long list of folks that include the parents, including all the stakeholders that it enumerates in that space. So, but as I said, we'll have a much broader conversation later in the time, and we'll then have a final statement at that point. But this is the stance that the division is taking at this point.
Thank you very much for that additional
So
background.
just for clarification, so I'm clear. So are the meetings going to continue as they've been going on for the last like 2.5 years until the probation department, vets this out and comes up with their policy?
It is
Or
our
have they
intention.
stopped?
It is our intention to continue the meetings.
Okay.
And because we still want to make sure we understand what's happening with the youth's plan and that they're moving forward with it, because as you know, we need to be able to speak to whether they're meeting those goals as we're creating those reports that go to court. So we definitely still have to speak to those things. And the staff have to get together so they can talk about what's happening internally with what's, going on, because they're the ones responsible for moving that part of the process.
Mhm.
So unlike those two broader meetings that are required, which takes into account this much broader stance of information, during the middle of it, during the information that has to happen, that's really the internal stakeholders who are driving that conversation, because they're the ones responsible when they go back in front of the judge, and they're the ones being held to account as to whether those rehabilitative goals are being met. So that's kind of what they're responsible for. So they still need to meet, they still need to be held responsible for those things, and that still has to be a conversation they have to have.
So we should, for those of who are on the call or in the meeting who have traditionally attended these meetings, we should not expect a change until we hear further from you. Is that correct?
What we're saying, ma'am, is that the meetings will still be held. But as of right now, we're asking you guys not to attend until we can have our meetings with you to discuss the steps moving forward. The meetings will happen, but your attendance at this point, we're asking you not to attend.
And it's my understanding that the youth will not be attending, neither will their parents. Is that correct?
Mr. Wade, do you want to speak to the youth attending?
I think at some point, or the youth will be involved in the conversations. Just for now, we are trying to figure out what we're doing with the external partners.
I have a question for Mr. Keene. You mentioned some legislation around the matter. Do you have like some specific bills we could look at, or like a pointer of what exactly you mean by legislation or surrounding the matter?
So A23 that outlines what these types of, what this particular grouping, this individual plan conversation as MDT needs to be. It outlines the list of people who should be in that space, and it outlines the periods in which that group comes together. And as Ms. Rasmussen outlined, there are situations in where individual counties have chosen to bring people together more frequently than what is asked for in the legislation. So the conversation it will be what will be our decision in terms of a county moving forward. And I think, we're not going to get into the particulars here in this public forum. What we will talk about in that smaller group will be some of the issues that we want to raise in terms of setting some ground rules that we think are getting in the way of some of the kind of logistics of things happening. So this is not the proper forum to have that part of the conversation. That's why they responded back to Ms. Rasmussen and said that we will be having a different conversation in a different forum for that.
Okay, if that is the end of our questions, thank you very much for everyone participating in that discussion. Thank you, Chief Keene, for helping us understand where we're at right now, and we'll look forward to hearing more about when we'll be meeting to discuss the particulars.
Let me just ask for public comment for item 3C, probation. Any public comment? Okay, no hands are raised. Back to you.
Okay, so next on our list of stakeholders would be the County Office of Education, and we heard from Ms. Notch that she is not able to attend this evening. Do we have someone here from BHRS? I'm not sure if I see anyone here.
I do not see anybody.
No, okay. And I do see I see a few names from our Fresh Lifelines for Youth partner. Would you like to speak now and give us an update?
Hello. I
Hi,
can go
good
ahead
evening.
and I can go ahead and start. So my updates will be specifically about the REPS program, which is our in-custody case management program. We currently have 10 youth enrolled. Of those, we have 9 boys and 1 girl. Of those, we have all 8 secure track youth enrolled, and then we have 2 707B offenders enrolled. We did, with the help of probation, we were actually able to increase our time on the unit so that the youth get more of the case management time. So we are doing 8 hours a month per youth. We are there Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for about 5 hours at a time. And Harold is still doing weekly workshops with them as well. Those are on Wednesday afternoons, and those do not count as their case management time. So essentially they're getting 8 hours of case management and 4 hours of workshop time for a total of 12 hours a month. They did also, 7 of our SYTF youth recently completed the Odyssey project that was facilitated by Professor Michael Morgan from UCSB. And they did this along with other UCSB students. So they were given different writing and drawing prompts that encouraged them to write about their fears, the way they view themselves, the way others view them, who the hero in their lives are, and then it was all turned into a script, and they did perform that script on Friday, July 11th. Fly is currently working with our content creators to compile all of the work they did and turn it into a smaller clip so that we can hopefully share that with our stakeholders. And those are all the updates I have for the REPS program.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to speak on the behalf of reentry. Just really quick, we started our new fiscal year this month, and so far they already enrolled 6 youth. And they also host their first event, which for the first time, they have 12 youth attend the event. It was a lot of them. Usually we only have like 2 to 4 youth attending the reentry events, but we had 12 for this month. They went to Dave & Buster's, and right now the case managers are focusing on their career education plans for the youth and to make sure that their placements are, they understand the process of their placements when it comes to school. And I believe it's 5 boys and 1 girl for the new youth.
Thank you, Tati
Yeah,
and
that's all
Maria.
we have.
Do we have any questions from commissioners on the happenings with Fly for this month?
Do we have a wait list for any of our programs right now?
Stay does have a wait list. We actually hired a new case manager for that program in April. Because it is only him, there is a wait list. I believe there are 8 youth on there right now. And then for reps, we also have, so again, our in-custody program, we also have about 3 on our wait list. They are 707B, so they're not secure track as of now. But they are on a different unit. So we are trying to figure that out before we enroll them in a program. We just want to make sure that we will be able to give them the time that they need as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the work that you're doing. It's outstanding.
I have a quick question. Sorry. So for the REX program, the workshop with Harold, was that only for youth on the REX program, or is that for the entire facility?
That is only for the youth in program.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we want to take public comment?
Sure. Any public comment on item 3F? Please raise your hand in this room, or yeah, you can come on up. Thank you. We do have 1 public comment.
Hi, I'm Nancy Goodban. I live in Redwood City, and thank you so much. Thank you for all the reports. And maybe I should have commented a little earlier, but I was surprised to hear about this issue with the youth individual rehabilitation plans not involving the youth or the parents or the stakeholders. So I just wanted to share, I'm new to it, but I wanted to share the concerns that the commissioners had brought up, that this seems a little soon to make a decision like that without asking for stakeholder involvement, and then for the department to say, we will make a decision and then we'll tell you what it is. But meanwhile, you're not involved, especially if the youth and the parents aren't involved, because how do you get rehab without family involvement?
Thank you. That's end of public. Oh, I do have one other hand raised on Zoom from ACLU NC chapter. So, oh, wait. Okay, they just lowered their hand. So, no public comment. Oh, yeah, one more from this room. So.
The hand is back up.
Okay, let me call you up. So, please proceed on Zoom.
Sorry about that. I should have changed my my Zoom name. I am Beth Von Emster, and I'm appearing in my my individual capacity, not on behalf of the ACLU. But I want to also amplify the concern expressed earlier about individual rehabilitation plans not involving stakeholders who know these children personally and well and could offer insight that could be rehabilitative. That it seems foolish to me, and also so sudden. It sounds like the commissioners are just hearing about it now and haven't had a chance to weigh in, and it's already happening. So I would urge that that caution be taken and that this be more carefully considered before such a drastic action is taken. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any other hands raised. So we have one additional from this room. So please proceed.
Thank you. I'm Becca Keeler. I'm a member of NR Care San Mateo County. And I was kind of in shock, I guess, so I'm belated also on the comment on the changes with probation. And I just want to say, you know, having the community involved, having the families involved, I don't totally understand, obviously, who has been involved, but it sounds like we're cutting out people that are critical to these children and their rehabilitation. And that's incredibly concerning to me. So I just want to ask of probation, please do include the community, please include the commission here in your decision, Chief, and please please include the people that have, please allow the families, the people that have been involved to be involved in this issue with these children. It's critical. I mean, the whole purpose is to rehabilitate these kids, and I recognize it may not be exactly to the letter of the law, but hopefully we're better than just that. And if we found a way that works better, that we'll stay with that. Thank you.
Thank you. That's end of public comment. Back to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for that discussion and your comments. The last update from system partners would be from Children and Family Services. I do not think we have anyone attending. Nope. So we will move on to our first presentation of the evening, and it is my delight to introduce Nicole Davies, who is the founder and, do you call yourself ED or CEO or just founder?
Any letter of the alphabet.
Okay. And a very impassioned advocate for youth and the possibilities of transformation through opportunity. And I won't say anything more about Fortitude Careers because I know that you will be able to communicate very, very well on what you've spent so much time and energy and your passion in creating and feeding and running. So thank you, Nicole. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd also like to say thank you for your mastery of the systems. So, commissioners, thank you for having me here tonight. It's an honor to present to you. Gosh, where do I start? Fortitude Careers started in the pandemic. How much time do I have? 20 minutes. 20. Yeah. Hold on to your hats. I got 20 minutes. Pandemic. It was this beautiful time, right? Most people don't think of it like that, but I do. It gave me this pause in my career and my ability to kind of reconfigure my life. I was at a point in my career that I was kind of done with corporate and really needed to do something to follow my passion. Of course, my passion is already well known. So, my passion is working with young people, believing in them, seeing the whole person, seeing what their potential is, and putting them on a path to success. Whew. Oh, okay, very good. Sorry, you kidding? My voice carries. So, So I can talk to the slide, I'll talk to you, okay? Really what we do is we take young people, academically challenged, sometimes with cognitive challenges, behavioral challenges. There isn't anybody that we won't consider for our program because we believe that everybody deserves a chance. And so we have done we started in 2020, we just had our 5th year anniversary. We spent 2 years developing the program to ensure that what we were doing and what we were delivering was important and meaningful. I can't do it. I'm a walker, so maybe I'll walk like this. Yeah, okay, that's fine, great, okay. I'm a little moving. So since we took 2 years of development, and the program is twofold. So the beginning of the program, the beginning of our day is life mastery, because we can't put young people into a job that they don't know how to show up as an adult, as a conscientious employee. They oftentimes are not taught this. They don't have the support systems around them. Either their parents work 2 jobs and there's no opportunity for that kind of development. It doesn't seem to have been happening in the school. No disrespect to our schools. A lot of times our students just shut down in that academic environment. And so we look to find these students where they are. Back to the conversation around juvenile justice was very meaningful, a passionate pursuit of mine, because I believe that our students that we have today are really only just oftentimes a step away from that. And so for me, even more passionately to connect with the young people who are involved in the system, justice involved, to let them believe in themselves, right? I believe that the system, sometimes their families, sometimes their networks of people have told them that they don't have value. And that's the exact opposite of what we tell them. But not only do we tell them how to find their value, how to understand their value, see their value, believe that they have a place in the professional world, but we give them the underpinnings, the foundations of understanding how to do that. So emotional regulation, relationship building, communication. How do you talk to your boss? How do you talk to a client, a coworker? How about your spouse, your parents, your children? So we talk about the fullness of the human experience and how to master it as best you can. Now, I believe that we are planting seeds of mighty oaks we might not see anything about for 20 years, but we're planting those seeds. And we're also planting the seeds of the garden that's going to sustain them and fill them in the immediate, right? That's going to give them hope for a future and the ability to go out and make some money. So let's talk a little bit more about who we've actually served. So 100% of our students are from historically underserved communities. In fact, a majority of our students are from Hispanic communities. Sadly, I don't speak Spanish, and that's a disadvantage at times, but we are working to develop that into the program where we actually have a bilingual experience so that we can invite everyone in. My guys here. So what we teach is, like I said, the first half of the day is life mastery. The second half of the day is shop. They survive me in the morning classes in order to go and play with the tools in the shop and the build things and understand teamwork, communication, all of that stuff that's taught in the class in the morning is replicated in action in the shop. And so what that does is it reinforces the learning. Everything we do, I told them today, in fact, I said, look, every single thing I do here has got some kind of a psychological play to it that helps you to better understand your value, your place, and understand that even if we get after you, there's a reason for that. We're trying to make you better. So
Nicole, I just wanted to point out
Sorry.
that it's an 8-week program.
It is.
The little screen share thing is
Yes,
blocking that.
Thank you. It is an 8-week program. You'd be surprised at what we can do in 2 short months. But 72% of our participants are in jobs in construction. 72%. We take in about 17 per cohort. We're rounding up to 4 cohorts a year, 64 students a year who may not have had any path to a future are now in position to have a good career. 72% of them are in careers. We have a 96% completion rate. In 2020, we lost 4 students in our first cohort because they didn't know what we were and we didn't either. We haven't lost a student since then. We set the hook and they seem to want to stay. They crave it. They want to know how they can improve their lives and how they can have a path forward when college isn't in the picture for them. Through the course of our shop course, we also give them certifications, because a resume with certifications on it demonstrates to an employer that they've gone that extra measure. So everything that, like I said, everything that we're doing, they have forklift, scissor lift, boom lift, Flagger, Hilti Tools, OSHA 10, and this year, this cohort at the beginning, the first one is mental health first aid, because we believe that not only do they need those skills for themselves, but they're in an industry where suicide is high, and it's generally a male environment, and they have a harder time talking about their skills. Forgive me, gentlemen, I don't mean to generalize, but typically these are the statistics that tell us that mental health first aid is critical. We're talking about students who came through the pandemic who are still affected by that in some way. And so we address at every level a way for them to improve their lives, the long term, not just the short term to get into a job. I've spoken to this. Am I going forward or back? I'm sorry, I'm going back. I am not known for my skills with the device here. In addition to the 8-week course that we offer, we also do 5 times a year with the San Mateo County School District. We organize a field trip, and we'll take 20 students to a job site. We put the boots on, the hard hat, the goggles, the vest. They get to feel what it's like to be on a job site. Do you see yourself here? Better yet, do you see your people here? Do you see that you could fit here? And almost, I mean, we'll go in with a lot of them are coming because they get out of class and they can go hang out and go see a job site. But I would say probably 60% of those who come to an ECC express an interest in coming into the program or in pursuing a career in construction. So we have served 250 youth since 2022. 96. Oh, yeah, we already went over this. I'll talk about the partnerships. We've got some extensive partnerships throughout the Bay Area, growing every day, hoping soon to incorporate Sobrato. Also would love to have juvenile justice in a partnership where we could offer a workshop for the young people who are involved, justice involved, either while in the facility or after they have been released from the facility. We've had students who are justice involved in our program before. My staff is really pretty incredible in terms of reaching young people. And so I think they would be in good hands, if I may say so myself. So in our life mastery coursework, of course, we're looking at personal accountability. Our employer partners tell us that's one of the things that's most critical to them in hiring a young person, is that if you make a mistake, you own it and that you learn from it. And so we send our students out believing they're always a learner. And that's just one of the mottos we have. We also have, as you have been served, so serve others. And so we create in them this instinct, I hope, that cultivates that desire to help others that come behind them. We see that play out when our alumni come to our program and speak to our current students and encourage them on their way, which is, it's a pretty cool day. Each of our students will complete 300 hours of academic and shop experience in the 8 weeks. That's full time, 7:30 in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon. If you don't think it's hard to get 18-year-olds who are out of school up and in a classroom at 7:30 in the morning, let me tell you, they do it. If they don't, they have to do push-ups, which is corporal, but it works. So I've only had a few that have had to do it. Our goal upcoming is to double in size. We've been 3 years delivering services, 5 years as an organization. We have hopefully an arrangement with Sobrato will come to pass here soon, that we'll have that as a permanent location and also financial support for them as well. We are currently affiliated with the Department of Rehabilitation, and so that helps to give us extra tools to help serve our students. Let's see. The development of remote cohort program, in addition to the program that we're running where we do in-person in the shop, we're also starting to explore the use of virtual reality headsets, where then the risk is minimized, where they are actually learning and doing, but through a virtual experience, and they can actually get full certifications. This could be something that could be used with justice involved youth, where tools may be a challenge to have brought into a program. If it's less risk, then it's something that we could work with. The thing is that we're exploring every avenue to reach these young people and to give them the skills and the ability to move on in their careers. We have a number of different partnerships. In addition to our corporate partnerships, our industry partnerships, we are also working with Redwood City Together, Redwood City PAL, local high schools. I'm pleased to say we're also in dialogue with In Our Care, Go back. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just mentioning that we had already begun a dialogue of service. Also success stories, which is also another justice involved youth, a nonprofit. And so there's something at Fortitude that we call Fortitude Magic. And it seems that once we start talking about something, rivers of opportunity start opening up. And so as we spoke of being involved with the juvenile justice system, we had several spontaneous people reaching out, or spontaneous outreach from people who are interested in partnering with us on that. So we received the Chan Zuckerberg Award. We've got, we were a 2-person operation, 1.5-person operation for the first 3 years. And so self-funded, to have some folks who see our value and are willing to invest in it has been a really incredible honor, I think, for the founder, who just had an idea sitting around during the pandemic. And here we have not quite $1 million budget, but we're ebbing toward that. And so we're very pleased with that. We're graciously much appreciative to the Chan Zuckerberg. We were in their last round of community funding. So they're only funding healthcare and science now, but we got in at that last minute. We were also recognized by the Small Business Administration as the Client of the Year in 2024, which I like that a lot, since it was just a couple of us pulling the load. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah, like I said, Department of Rehabilitation, we're also quite appreciative for the relationship we have with the Event Center. They have housed us and allowed us to run our program there for the last 3 years. So non-traditional pathways to jobs. That's it, right? We could stop there because that's what we do. And it doesn't matter who the person is. It doesn't matter what their experience has been. In fact, we used to, I don't say it much anymore, but the more challenging the early life, the more I want to have an impact in their life, the more I want them to come and believe that they have a place and that they can believe in themselves. Economic stability. Oftentimes our students, we have one student who graduated and he's making $130,000 a year. Now, 18 years old, he came to me at graduation and said, I got the job. I'm going to be making $63 an hour. And I said, where's your girlfriend? 2 of you come with me. And we left the whole mingling of the event and we went and we sat down at a table and I said, look, every single thing I taught you in financial literacy is going to be reality for you. $130,000. I wasn't far from that when I exited corporate. And so that's a lot of money to come at you really fast. And so please be very, very careful. And I said to her, it's your responsibility as well to be careful with this income. And if you play it right and you plan it out, you're going to have a future. You're going to have a retirement. You'll have the boat and the mountain house, or all the things that you could imagine that you would want. To get them to believe in themselves and believe that that could be their future is intoxicating. He came back. He's been gone about 18 months. He came back to our last cohort to speak to our class. And before he spoke, he and I sat and talked for a minute. And he said, Ms. Nicole, I did everything you told me to. My girlfriend and I, we don't even go out for Valentine's Day. We're home all the time. We're saving all our money. We're driving a used car and a used truck. He was so thrilled at saving for his future. And I thought, man, cool. But the fact is he listened, really, right? And he's investing in himself, which I think is great. Am I out of time? Please tell me if I am. Oh, well, look, it doesn't matter if I am or I'm not. Here we are. I'm delighted.
Perfect timing.
Questions. All right. Happy to take any questions you may have. Yes.
So I saw the list of supporters and you talked about like the budget or how much like monetary support you got. Is there any cost for example, you mentioned like the San Mateo, I guess, Unified School District, your partnership with them? Was there a contract there? How much did they have to pay, or is it completely free?
I may not be the best business person, but every single thing about Fortitude is free, including my service for several years. It's free to our students. I can't even imagine asking them to pay. And our partners, look, we're so grateful. The San Mateo County School District came and just huddled around us and showed us how it was done, and it really has encouraged us. We've gone to be speakers at the schools. And in fact, Ophelia Arguela just retired in June, and she was there for opening day yesterday. And she said, you're not going to get rid of me. And so they are really invested in what we're doing. And so, no, there is no cost to anyone. We have a small contract with the Department of Rehabilitation and a few donors. we've been more focused on our students than on our fundraising. So
That's great to hear. I know I definitely see this as a amazing tool and honestly resource for YSC and for probation. I know they have the Paxton Patterson equipment that's like not being used right now.
we need to
and it would
talk.
be-
If there's equipment not being used, we can put it to use. Thank you. Yes.
How do you find the kids, or how do the kids find you all?
We've never advertised. Besides, beyond ECCs within the school district and word of mouth, I would say 40% of our students come from people who've graduated from the program and said, go. We've had multiple sibling sets that have come through. I haven't advertised. I haven't really needed to. Our classes have all been full. And frankly, if I were to advertise and we were to really get the word out, I'm afraid that we wouldn't have the capacity to help everyone. And I have a terrible time saying no. So,
Thank you.
yes.
I had the pleasure of going on a tour through Santa Clara Juvenile Hall, and they had like the forklift driving,
Yeah.
the carpentry. Was that all your
I
organization?
wish. No,
Oh.
it wasn't, but we'd like to have that be for the San Mateo
Okay.
County. Yeah.
Well, I was, because they have a wonderful program there in Santa Clara County. My question was, where are your facilities located out here? And is there like somewhere we can refer
Yes.
youth to from
Yeah.
San Mateo
In fact,
County?
I have a little informational card
Oh,
for
you have that?
everybody,
Okay.
for all the commissioners tonight. We are housed at the San Mateo County Event Center, but we move in and move out. So our whole shop, all of our office, everything is packed up and then unpacked for 8 weeks and then packed up again, and we store it. We are quite hopeful for an offer from the Sobrato organization to occupy space at their Center for Nonprofit. I should have the name of this. Sobrato. It's a nonprofit hub. They're really looking to draw nonprofits in who are kind of like-minded. And there was a 30,000 foot space that became available, and we've been asked if we would be interested in a section of that. We couldn't possibly use all that space. So hopefully Redwood Shores. I know that kind of presents a transportation challenge. And so in addition to that, in the grant that we're asking for from the Sobrato family as well, we're getting a transportation vehicle where we could go to a certain location, pick students up from their neighborhoods, and be able to transport them wherever they go. I want there to be nothing in the way of our students finding their passion and their path to success. And so we'll do what we can. Yes.
My question to you is, when you say San Mateo Union County School District, do you mean San Mateo County Office of Education, or San Mateo Union High School District, or San Mateo Foster City School District?
Yes, no, yes, and yes, no. Yes, San Mateo Union High School District, yes, primarily that. You said Office of Education. Interestingly enough, early in our time in 2021, we began conversations to bring this kind of training to the middle school as an introduction, to the high schools as coursework, and on to Fortitude before they go on to their careers. One of the key players from the Office of Education dropped and went to Richmond schools, and then the transition time it took a more union focus. And I'll say I completely support the unions. I think they run a great program. It's non-inclusive. It does not take into account those who've got academic challenges, cognitive behavioral challenges. None of those things make it available. You have to have a C in algebra for 2 semesters to be able to even sit for the exam. And so many of our students don't do that. And so to have a group that's overseeing it who are kind of exclusive, it makes it really challenging. We want to be back at the table, and we can't yet. We're working on it, but yeah. So we would love to be with Office of Education. The other two, the last two that you said, Foster City, not as much, although our office and being there at the event center is very close. So it seems like it would be a good fit for us. Like I said, for me to do too much promotion, I would have to staff and then do more fundraising and all the things, which we're doing. I have a very capable assistant or associate who just came on in December and is doing remarkably well and helping to take some of that load off and doing some fundraising. And And so like our engines are full steam ahead. And as soon as we can serve the other school districts and additional space, additional locations, we will.
Well, it's just a follow-up question, just because when I typed up San Mateo Union High School District and Fortitude Careers, nothing popped up. So I was just curious to know, when did you come into the district? And the reason why I'm asking is because I have sat on the San Mateo Union High School District Equity Advisory Committee for 5-6 years, and I've
Never heard of
never
us.
heard of
Yeah,
you.
we're the best kept secret.
I
in San
guess
Mateo
so.
County.
I guess
Yeah.
so. Do you,
Not to talk to our students or talk to our students, they say we're the best thing in San Mateo County.
but when did you come into the high school district? That's my last question.
2021 was our first engagement with the San Mateo County High School District. If you know, do you know Eli Poblins? Eli is a dear, dear friend of our program. Julia, no, nope.
You said Eli?
Eli Poblins.
What department?
He is over the CTE, that continuing technical education.
Okay, and I guess that's overseen by Brian Simmons, and then.
I'm not
no?
that high up.
Okay, that's all right.
I'm on the
Okay,
street
thank
with
you.
the teachers.
Right, that's
'cause
right.
they're
Thank
the
you,
ones
thank
who
you.
connect
No,
with
no
the
big deal.
students.
I'll follow up with them.
How many staff do you have?
Well, it should be an easy question to answer, right? There's myself and Amanda, who's our associate. Dave is a contract instructor. He's been with the program since its inception. And then we have Ralph Wigington, who is the former shop teacher at Half Moon Bay High School, who's a kind of a long volunteer. Like he's going to be there through the cohort with us. We also have an administrator who does our books in Grass Valley, but she does remote, so it's by contract. So not a lot of us, which is part of the reason why. Let me explain. It's why we haven't been more able to penetrate into the school districts and do greater fundraising. We've been serving our students, and the rest will come. We're pretty confident. That fortitude magic, remember, it happens.
I have some questions.
Please.
Yes. So as far as our undocumented youth, I know Commissioner Bocanegra and I can both speak to this. We have a large undocumented community, and under the current administration, many of them are afraid to go to school. Many of them are afraid to go to even conservation camp. But they need resources, and they need an ability to go to work and to buy basic necessities. And that's what keeps them out of the criminal justice system. So what are we doing, or what is your program? How are you addressing that gap, or is it possible to address that gap in your program? And then my second question would be, what do students receive when they go through the program? Do they receive like safety gear that they can take with them, tools? Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for the questions. I appreciate that. Oh, fiddle. I forgot the first one now.
Undocumented youth are
Oh gosh.
It's muted.
Okay, great, thanks. Half of our first or second cohort were undocumented young people. I did a crash course on what it meant and what the impact was on each of those people and their futures. It's you asked, is it possible? And that was a really that struck me as a challenging question. We guarantee jobs as much as we can to our graduates, but what we really guarantee is the ability for them to go forward in their life and make a living. And so it is good for our partnerships. It's good for our statistics to be able to put young people into jobs and have that completed cycle. That becomes more difficult when you don't have documentation and you then find yourself challenged with who you can work for. I don't say no. I can't say no. I won't say no. If a student comes to me undocumented and they need to have this advantage in their life, I will give it to them. At the sacrifice of statistics, at the sacrifice of outcomes, at the sacrifice of the opinions of others. Again, it's a little bit like juvenile justice. If you cannot be given a hand out of your situation, then how can you ever expect to rise up? And so, thank you. And
as far as what supplies they get when they complete the program, or what?
Thank you. Partly in partnership with Hilti Tools with Milwaukee. We're looking at Milwaukee Tools giving us a partnership. ABC, which is the Association of Builders and Contractors, AGC, the Association of General Contractors. They all do their best to provide us. We've been able to give them a toolkit when they leave. They also go forward with those 7 now certifications that that are really solid in terms of what they how their power to get a job. The DOR partnership, for those who qualify, they must have had an IEP in school in order to qualify for the DOR program. But as they approach the graduation from Fortitude, we get to put the wish list. So whatever profession they're going into, if it's going to be a plumber, they're going to get a plumber's basic toolkit. If it's a laborer, they'll get a laborer's basic toolkit. I'd like to think that what we put here between their ears is just as much important as what we put in their toolbox. And so we do make sure that they are well equipped and that they're received well by the industry as being prepared professionals. In fact, Forma Construction in San Francisco stated when we received our award with the Small Business Administration, he says, we hire Fortitude graduates because they're a professional on the job on day one. And what he meant by that was that they show up, they know that there's no such thing as idle time. If you're not moving, you grab a broom. If you don't know what to do, you ask. You pick things up, you move things, you do things, you keep busy, and that makes you more valuable on the team. So we give them everything they need to be successful.
I had another
Yes,
question.
please.
Regarding your 50% immigrant cohort, and I know this is a very touchy issue right now across the country, especially here in San Mateo County, where we are a sanctuary county. Some of your partnerships have rolled back DEI, like Meta, for instance. And then I see the percentage of your students that are undocumented. Have you advocated, just curiosity, to some of your partners? Because, when we're partners, we're partners. But if we're limited partners, then, it's kind of would be a good thing to be transparent with that, especially setting these youth up. Having an education in this is definitely a benefit, hands down. But receiving this education and then being told that our partnerships won't accept you and you have to find work somewhere else is kind of hard as well. So how do you manage that there, by the way?
Okay, so our students come into our program and we mean no disrespect to their cultures, but we agree on day one that we are all human first, and every other variable in our life brings color and a variety. And so we set them up not to go out as a strong, well-trained individual, regardless of any kind of other factor that they don't, forgive me, I don't mean to, I'm trying to be politically correct, and you'll forgive me if I'm not exactly right on, okay?
It's a tough
Right.
question.
No, it so is, right? But look, here's the thing. I don't want them to get a job because they are of Hispanic descent or because they are LGBTQ. I want them to get a job because they are the properly trained, well-prepared professional to go on to the job. You asked if I advocate. I have a bandwidth issue. Some requirement of sleep at some point in the day. And advocacy, frankly, I don't know that I have a big enough voice right now. And the time it would take for me to advocate, I'm a passionate person and I can usually convince people of a lot of things. And I have to really make sure that where my attention is directed is most in best service to all of my students. I would love to have the luxury of being an advocate and speaking. I'll speak wherever I'm asked to speak passionately about the value of our students. And so as time evolves and we have a bigger staff and I have less on me, then perhaps I can do that. And I would welcome any introductions you might make in your community that would help to equip me to go forward and be a better advocate.
Thank you.
Do the chair have one more question? On one of your slides, and it mentions, you reference the partners. It did mention San Mateo County probation. Is that
Not yet.
a conversation you're going to engage in?
It's one that we would like to have.
Perfect, thank you.
And I believe in that particular instance, it was a
Developing.
future.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. It was kind of a tickler for this meeting to say, we are open and we are ready and we are willing to work with justice involved youth. And so we do hope for a partnership in service to the young people who are involved in the system, not for any financial gain, but just in order to help elevate them to a place where they feel like they can sustain themselves.
Thank you very much, Nicole. We really appreciate hearing from you and understanding more about the work that you're doing and the impact that you're having on young people's lives in our county. And I think it's wonderful that the Chief Probation Officer is here and has listened to your presentation. So I'm really glad that you,
Chief Keen?
Chief
Is that
Keen is
right?
here. Yeah.
Very good.
So I'm very glad that you have this profile, and I'm hopeful that some good discussions will come out of this with commissioners and hopefully with probation, that we can see if there's some good relationships to be taken forward so we can impact the youth who are incarcerated or touched by the system and provide them with some of these opportunities. Thank you so much for your time today. I know this is an incredibly busy time because your cohort
It
just
is.
started.
I know. I was in
So
class at 7 a.m. this morning, and so
Thank
my
you.
thoughts are not coming as quickly as
No,
I
no,
ordinarily,
they
so
were crystal clear. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you. I have cards if you're, oh,
Thank you so much.
Let's take public comment for this item. I don't see any hands raised in Zoom, so from this room, you can come on up and state your name. Thank you.
Hi, Commissioners. I'm Chelsea Bonini. I'm here on my own behalf, but I'm a member of the San Mateo County Board of Education. And I want to thank Nicole for being here. She mentioned Eli Povlitz, who is is a strong supporter. And the reason that I'm aware of this is because of my time on your, I would say, sister commission, which is the Commission on Disabilities. I was chair of the Transition to Independence Fair for a number of years. And participated, and Eli is in the position of being a transition coordinator for the special education department. There are others in the other districts. So for example, in Sequoia, I believe that position is held by Gail Oitis. And so during the pandemic, when we had virtual meetings or virtual transition to independence fair, which is meant for the special education community, for families, for students, Nicole graciously came and presented with the introduction and on a panel with Eli. And then you've come to a number of other events as well. So I just wanted to commend the program as being amazing. If there could be a partnership with probation, being that a number of students that are that are justice impacted also have IEPs or 504s. And so having this welcoming space for students to grow and find professional opportunities is amazing. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. One additional speaker. Come on up.
I just want to say thank you, Nicole. I met Nicole last month when she was here, and we've had a conversation since. There is no doubt this is a passionate as hell woman. Okay. Thank you for your passion and your commitment to this. I have a long background in career transition work, so I have some understanding of what she's doing, although I haven't worked in construction, but I'm very impressed. And to your comment, Mr. Bocanegra, about how could we advocate? Maybe the community can advocate for opening up some of the doors that are closing because of DEI closing down. So maybe we in the community can advocate in your behalf. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you. No additional comments.
Thank you very much. That was a great presentation and great discussion. Good questions. Thank you, everyone. The next item on our agenda is our 2025 Canyon Oaks Youth Center Inspection Report. Do we do it first before we present? No. Sorry. So Amaya,
Sorry, my bad.
Commissioner Nori, we are ready for your presentation.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Oh, okay, it's on. So thank you. Yes. So we conducted the Canyon Oaks inspection on July 14th. So earlier this month, the inspection team was me, Commissioner Blanco, and Commissioner Clemmer, who I don't think is here tonight. We had a wonderful conversation with Victoria Valencia, who is the position is long and head of service, clinical services manager. And she's been at Canyon Oaks for the last, I think, more than 20 years. She has a lot of experience, and we had a very valuable conversation with her about, I think, the future of Canyon Oaks as well, given some of the things that will come later in this inspection, namely the lack of probation referrals. So a quick overview about the facility itself. It's located in Redwood City near the Edgewood Park hiking trails. So it's located near the new adult, I believe it's either mental health or substance abuse recovery facility. It's newly constructed. The facility is newly constructed. So for the last, I would say, multiple years, there's been a lot of construction around the facility itself, and I think it's starting to get less and less. And as the facility becomes fully constructed, it's a very beautiful area. It's located near those hiking trails, and Canyon Oaks takes full advantage of that. They often take youth out on hikes. The alcohol counselor, the AOD counselor, was Victoria mentioned that I guess he takes the youth out on those trails a lot, and it's a very valuable experience for them. So it opened in 2003 as a level 14 group home, and in 2019 it received its permanent STRTP, or short-term residential treatment program. There you go. And it has a capacity of 12 beds, so 12 youth, and it serves youth aged 12 to 18 with serious mental and emotional needs as an alternative to psychiatric hospitalization for youth in crisis. And the only other STRTP in San Mateo County is Elysian, which is a private company, which is ran by a private company, and I believe serves a different audience of youth. So as I mentioned, it's a STRTP. It's operated by BHRS, the county's BHRS, has a staff of over 20, I think over actually around 30 to 40, has one supervising mental health clinician, that's Victoria, one mental health program specialist, 2.5 as in part-time, psychiatric social workers and marriage and family therapists, one creative arts therapist, one occupational therapist, a part-time psychiatrist, and the 19 residential counselors plus per diem relief staff, as well as a medical office specialist. And the 19 residential counselors basically provide care. They're the main point of contact for youth there. They are with the youth 24/7. They have, I believe it's 4 to 6 residential counselors with youth during the day. And at night, they have 3 residential counselors that are awake and stay with the youth for the entirety of the night. And they also have a full-time bilingual therapist, and I think multiple RCs also, or residential counselors, are bilingual. For RCs, residential counselors, the requirement is to have a bachelor's degree, and clinicians need a master's degree. Okay, moving on. So the big process for referrals from, I guess, for Canyon Oaks, it's 3 main pathways: probation referrals, or the court, children and family services, and school districts. So for the last 2 years, it's primarily been school districts referring youth who have IEPs, and them being in school just isn't working out. They need a facility that's more intensive, that works and helps their mental health problems. Children and Family Services, Victoria mentioned it. I think there was still some slight representation, as in there were few referrals, but for the most part, it was school districts. And in the last, I looked through the inspection, the last like 4, I think it was inspection reports, and throughout those last 4, there hasn't been a single placement from juvenile probation or court or the court. So that number is definitely low, or I guess 0. And that has also impacted our ability to interview youth there. There were also 0 youth at the camp that had active cases with probation. So we weren't able to interview any youth at the facility. But we had, like, I guess, interactions in the hallway with many of them. I guess with probably half of them. I think we saw 2 out of the 4 youth that were at the facility, and they seemed like they were having a great time. The residential counselors really seemed like they were working to further the youth and help the youth. But yeah, the big takeaway here is that probation really hasn't referred a youth to Canyon Oaks in many, many years. So a bit about this inspection, I kind of covered it at once. We visited July 14th, interviewed Victoria Valencia, as well as another RC, a residential counselor. Our impression, it's extremely well-run, well-resourced. The youth there are generally happy. They have the resources they need, the support they need to better their journey and work on their mental health problems. I talked a bit about the staff, and as I mentioned, there were 4 youth in residence at the time of inspection, 3 Latinx and 1 Filipino, and Canyon Oaks solely services youth from San Mateo County, so there's no out-of-county youth that are served by Canyon Oaks. And this is what we just basically wrote at the top of the inspection report. We don't have access, or I guess access to review records or interview youth that were not placed by probation, and there were no youth at Canyon Oaks who had active cases of probation or were referred by probation. So we did not have access to like grievances or any sort of records that were filed by any youth that were at Canyon Oaks. So a bit about the accommodations. As I mentioned, the staff really are incredible. There are many resources for youth at Canyon Oaks. I'll get into the programming in a second, but the staff really, really support the youth and do the best they can to assist the youth. I know they have, I think there were 2 dogs there while we were present, and the youth interacted with them a lot, loved it. Programming wise, the Canyon Oaks partners with, I believe it's called Square Pegs in Santa Cruz. Let me double check that. Yeah, so Square Pegs for equine therapy. So youth go there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I believe. And they also have a partnership with the Reiki Center for general programming. They have a lot of resources that are very valuable: archery, just general recreation, and that's in North Fair Oaks. So it's a very valuable sort of programming. And our concerns and recommendations. So one of the big things was that they haven't had a PE teacher in the last 2 years, I think. And they also do not have a teacher as of the inspection date. One of the big accommodations that we had was for Mr. Remet, George Remet, who was the teacher for, I don't know, the last, yeah, for a very long time. Yeah. And he resigned, I think, moved to a different position at the end of this last school year. And that's definitely a massive loss to the Canyon Oaks community, given how valuable he's been for the youth. The staff and the youth both commend him profusely. So yes, the PE teacher, that's definitely a concern. Obviously, that's more for the education aspect, for the Office of Education to have a PE teacher. In the meantime, the residential counselors do report that they have, like, they offer recreation sort of exercise for the youth. And I think the AOD counselor as well takes them on hikes into the trails. But I think one of the issues they noted was that youth often don't want to participate as it's optional if they're, I think it's optional if it's not part of their schoolwork PE. I'm not sure how that works, but that was one of the concerns that they mentioned. The next sort of concern or recommendation is related to cooking and the food. So how the food works at Canyon Oaks is that they have a contract with the San Mateo County Medical Center, and food is prepared at, I think it's Cisco, which is the contract that the San Mateo County Medical Center uses, and then it's sent to the San Mateo County Medical Center and then sent to Canyon Oaks. The food is 100% better than what's at YSC, but still can be improved. I think they have a chef on site, and they also have a full professional kitchen. So there's really no reason why they shouldn't have the food being cooked on site. And they have days of the week where that food is cooked on site, cooked by the youth themselves, chef's choice. And it's definitely a huge recommendation. We think that the cooking should be conducted on site by maybe helped by the youth or by the chef that's there until 2, I think. That's basically the report. It really hasn't changed that much in the last few years. I think it's been pretty consistent as to what the concerns, what the recommendations were, where the accommodations really were for the facility itself. And obviously the big thing, the probation and juvenile court hasn't really referred youth in the last 4 years. So that's, I think, something that we should talk about and discuss as a future agenda item.
Thank you, Amaya. I have a question. I can start off the
For sure, yes.
questioning. So what leaps to my mind when I hear this is they've got about half of, I think the capacity is 12.
Yes.
And I think when we have done inspections in the past they've had about 8 or 9.
Yes.
And now we're down to 4.
So, I can talk about that, a bit about that. So I think because it's summer, Victoria mentioned that usually they are close to capacity or at capacity. Okay. It's just, I think right now, because it's summer, schools or school districts aren't referring youth as much through the IEP. But yeah,
so I mean, it's just a transitional time.
Yeah,
they're expecting more kids.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so this is not like a trending down where, because I mean, when I see 19 residential counselors and 4 kids in residence, I'm like, that seems like kind of a budget issue there.
Of course, yeah. No, they
targeted.
They for the most of the year they are at capacity or at or close to capacity.
And did Victoria Valencia have any thoughts about underutilization in terms of, did you have a conversation in terms of, I mean, this population of youth have serious issues.
Yeah.
Very serious issues. And one would think there could be an overlap with children in the juvenile justice system. And yet we're not seeing the kids benefit from this highly therapeutic environment.
So I think with Canyon Oaks, there has to be a consideration about the other youth that aren't referred to by probation or referred by probation. That's one of the things she mentioned, is that youth who have experienced trauma youth who have experienced trauma, especially like sexual related trauma, it's difficult to place them with youth who have committed sexual abuse and those types that are generally aggressive. And that might be one of the reasons why that the general placement has gone down from probation. But obviously we can't speak to that, and neither can Victoria. It's, I guess, the juvenile court judges who really have that. But was there another part to your question?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions from?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Nori, for that presentation and for your report and for leading this inspection this year. I know this is your last inspection with us, so I appreciate all of your efforts and getting it done so early. I am deeply concerned with Canyon Oaks's position, that they don't have to share any of their records. They don't have to allow us to interview any youth. But it's my understanding that Welfare and Institutions Code 229.5 says that we are authorized to inquire into these facilities that serve youth both in the probation system as well as youth in dependency or dependents of the court. And that facility, while they may not have had anyone this inspection period, they do serve those youth. And that is in direct contrast to what's happening at Elysian. Elysian, we can go in, we can look at all the records, we can interview youth. And I'm very concerned that we used to be able to do this, and that was shut down because during an interview, two youths expressed concern related to the inappropriateness of a staff member. And so we have to get to the bottom of that. So I want to make sure we put a notation on this report if we are to approve it tonight, that we are going to go back and with the help of Judith Holliber, we are going to iron this out and we are going to get those records and we are going to talk to those kids and we are going to do a full inspection because that's what we're mandated to do. By playing games last year, we had a youth on probation there. While they may not have been placed, probation hasn't been placing kids. So it's not just that they're not utilizing Canyon Oaks. They haven't been placing youth. So yeah.
If my impression is that I think with the youth that was there last year as well, I don't think like the timing of the inspection lined up with when that youth was at the facility. But yeah, I mean, Victoria, I think that was like a very rare case as well. And the Victoria mentioned for the last few years, there haven't been that many youth who have active cases with probation. But yeah, that was my impression of that.
It just seems to defeat the whole purpose. We go out and with good intentions to do a full inspection of this facility that has the capacity to serve youth. And yet we've been shut out ever since those youth complained about that staff member. We've been shut out. And that, to me, that just isn't transparent and it's not in line with our other inspections. So I really think that we need to get to the bottom of that. And I was very sorry to hear that George left, but we were saying for the last couple of years, we were very worried about his burnout. So Sarah Notch isn't here, but I am looking forward to hearing about what's going to be happening with hiring a new teacher. So thank you so much for all of your work on this.
Thank you, Johanna. And are there any other questions from commissioners? Or we can take public comment?
Thank you, members of the public. If you wish to comment on item number 5, please raise your hand in Zoom or from this room. Okay, no hands are raised. Back to you.
Okay, we've had our discussion and now we can move to a vote to accept this inspection report. And I would say that the motion would be to approve the inspection report with the suggested additional language to reflect the ongoing concern of the commission that we be provided with access to youth and records in order that we can properly discharge our obligations to inquire into the facility as it is meant to be open to serve the population of youth affected in the juvenile justice system.
As well as
like
the
to make-
dependency system. Yes.
Yes.
So moved. And I don't think we need a second.
And we do not need a second because
Ad
it's
hoc
the committee. Yes. So thank you. We have a motion and we can take a vote on that motion.
Sure, I'll start with Commissioner Ginevra.
I have a quick question
Okay.
or a comment. Another possible edit. I didn't see it in the report, but I think Elysian might be like county owned. I don't think it's privately owned. I think so. I don't know if that. I don't think that's in your report, but just in case.
Oh yes, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
That's
Okay, then I.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Ali?
Aye.
Commissioner Blanco?
Aye.
Commissioner Bocanegra?
Aye.
Commissioner Ling?
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Nori?
Aye.
Commissioner Patton?
Aye.
Commissioner Venkatesh?
Aye.
Commissioner Rasmussen?
Aye.
Thank you. And Vice Chair Heber-Levy?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much again, Amaya. We appreciate your diligence and bringing to a full conclusion your responsibilities on inspections before you head off to college. Very much appreciated. Okay, so we can move on to the next agenda item, our 2025 inspection update. The first item is juvenile hall. Commissioner Rasmussen, would you like to give an update on that?
Sure. So we went, so we meaning Commissioner Bocanegra, Commissioner Ali, and Commissioner Ling. We went in last Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to conduct the annual inspection. So that is all wrapped up of both the juvenile hall and the Secure Track SYTF facility. We spent about, we were there from 9 to 5 on most days. 2 days we spent in a room, well, no, one day we spent in a room going over documents, another half day. There are still some issues, especially like with carpets and things that are still in procurement. We still don't have cabinets on the walls. So there are some things that are taking a significant amount of time, but other than the incident with the strip searches earlier in the year, there wasn't anything new to report. So we're hoping to have these reports drafted and ready to present probably at the October meeting. Thank you.
Wonderful. That's great. Good work.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Elysian is the next on the agenda. Commissioner Ginevro, do you have an update?
Yes, so we actually went to inspect Elysian and the San Mateo County Receiving Home on last Friday. We were there for, I think, about 3 hours, and I have everything good that I can say about it. I'll say, but I'll open it up also to the others that attended if they have any comments that they want to make. But I think that everything is running really well. I do feel that Elysian is in the receiving home. Both of them are still. I think that they're both underutilized also because of the benefit that both sites have, and I understand that one is a STRTP and one is a shelter for youth that is transitional. And I wish that there was more that we could do with these sites because they are so well run, and the staff there are so thoughtful and present, and I have every good thing, every good thing in the world that I could say. I'll say it about this site, but I'll open it up to
Okay, thank you. We'll look forward to your report, also probably in October.
Yes, I think that October we should be done by October. I think that won't be any problems. And we still have to conduct interviews because there was only one youth was at the facility at the time, and then one other youth that recently transitioned out agreed to a phone call with us also. So we're just waiting to get that scheduled. But that's about it for now. I think October is more than enough time for us to get that done.
Okay, wonderful. And the next item is the education review and assessment, which I am leading. And we are waiting for dates for our visits to Canyon Oaks as well as Hillcrest and also Gateway. So as soon as we have those dates, we'll share that, but we're targeting early September once the kids in the schools are back in session and the kids are back in the classrooms. All right. Do we have any comments from commissioners or
public comment? I do have one hand raised by Chief Keen. Chief Keen, please proceed.
Thank you. I wanted to speak in public comment about, I know there's some question about underutilization of Canyon Oaks and Allegiant. So I want to talk a little bit historically about kind of where like probation youth and the youth that normally kind of fit into these spaces kind of align. I don't want to speak for BHRS because they're not present, so I want to leave that space for them to talk. But traditionally, the space has always kind of been a delicate one for kids that would typically be in the probation space. Someone alluded to it earlier that generally, and I will say generally in quotation marks, probation youth have kind of been considered to be not necessarily the youth that you would mix populations with in this space. And so there have been conversations about not having youth that were deemed to be maybe more aggressive, who may have different types of backgrounds, whether it be sexual or assaultive and things of that nature. The youth, for example, that was in Canyon Oaks that you just missed in that inspection period, for example, was a dual kid. And so we don't have very many dual kids, 241.1 kids in our population. We haven't had some We haven't had any in quite a while. This was very much a rare occasion. So it's not that we're not making referrals intentionally or there's some type of issue. It's just that historically, the types of youth that would be best suited to kind of mixed populations in that space are very, very rare. So it is like a very I would say it has to be a huge intentionality to ensure that a young person that we would put in that space actually is going to meet that environment. Because I agree with some of the comments that were made in the room. These environments are definitely very therapeutic, very home-like. The staff are amazing that work there. The ability to have mental health clinicians at such amazing ratios are an amazing aspect of the facilities. However, we've always had a very strong working relationship with BHOS to make sure that, when they tell us, hey, we can't really work with youth that are very assaultive, or we can't work with this type of youth or that type of youth, we have always respected that. And in the past, when we've made referrals to other types of group homes, when there were group homes to make these referrals to, there were group homes that would specifically work with a youth, for example, as you all know, that had maybe some type of sexual offending background or someone that was particularly assaultive in a particular way. We rarely ever use Canyon Oaks in that fashion. So if we found a young person that had primarily mental health issues, or the mental health issues were according to BHRS, or maybe as a dual program, that was the primary issue that kind of superseded any of the delinquency. And our partners at BHRS said, yes, we believe that to be the case. So therefore, we're going to take the lead in those cases. Then we would take a back seat in that case. We would still work collaboratively, but those are the types of cases they may find themselves in those types of environments. So there's not any like type of intention not to utilize the space, like to underutilize it because we don't believe in the environment, or we are bypassing it for some negative reason. There's a very specific type of young person that probation will utilize that space for. And a lot of that historically is because of the working agreement that probation and BHRS and child welfare has had for many, many years. And so we try to honor that relationship through the working agreement. A lot of that is, articulated in the MOUs, and in relationships in upper management, and then within supervisory relationships between our departments. And so I really just wanted to kind of share that background information with you, because I could certainly understand the appearance that maybe, somehow there's something else going on as to why probation hasn't made referrals there into this space that seems as if it's being underutilized. And we have these young people in our facility that have documented mental health issues that seem as if they could go into that space. But there has to be an agreement between the organizations, and then DHS or child welfare has to be willing to accept this case as a dual case, a 241.1 case, and then they have to be willing to take the lead in that case, where Canyon Oaks would be the space in which that young person could potentially find themselves. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that background information with the commission. Thank you.
Chief. Thank you, Chief Keen. That's very, very helpful. I think that really sets clear parameters around how these spaces are utilized and the support of the undergoing organizations, and how there's a lot of dialogue and cooperation. So thank you.
I have a question for Chief Keen, if that's allowed. I just wanted to ask what that vetting process would look like, or in what cases you would um, refer a youth to Canyon Oaks or a similar facility.
So what the process looks like, we actually have a standing working group between our two departments, where we have management teams that will case manage a young person's situation, for example, and we would go back and forth to try to determine which would be the best organization to address this young person's needs. So, for example, the last case, we actually went back and forth, where for a while BHRS took the lead. Unfortunately, in that young person's situation, their behavior escalated and then they became violent in that environment. BHRS no longer felt comfortable being the lead agency. Then probation took over, and that young person then ran from a placement in another jurisdiction. And so probation then had to become the lead agency. And when we brought the young person back to court, everything that happened in the court process of that space was probation driven. But we actually we case plan and casework every individual case that potentially could be a 241.1 case. And try to figure out what's in the best interest. We try to see what placements are available. Now that there aren't very many cases, there aren't very many institutions available for us to look at. I've always been a person who's wanted young people to go into the child welfare system when we can, because I feel like they have better options for them. But it's a very tough system to get young people in who have aggressive or assaultive behavior, because they tend to just not be willing to take them. Their placements are very much, and I understand why, but they are very much a stickler to any type of aggression. If any type of aggression is present, they just are not able to let them stay in that space. But I just want to say for the record, though, that our relationship with child welfare here has allowed for our 241.1 process since I've been here to be some of the most, I think, collaborative in the state. And so we work back and forth. And when we've had more kids who were in both systems, we just haven't had them in a long time. Our teams worked really well together to try to see what would be the best placement for folks.
Thank you for clarifying. One last question. Sorry. So would it wouldn't be juvenile court or like the judges that would be referring youth to Canyon Oaks? It would be probation?
Well, ultimately, it's always going to be the court order. So what
Okay.
we do is make a recommendation based on, because the judge would say to both probation and child welfare, hey, have you guys, case planned this case? And what say you? So we may say, hey, we want to do a 241.1 hearing. And at that point, the judge will hear what we've come up with. Sometimes we're in disagreement. And even though we work really well together, there have been times where I'm saying, hey, I think it's a child welfare case. Child welfare says, no, we think it's a probation case. And so we bump heads about it. And then we take it to the judge, and then the judge ultimately makes a decision where the young person will be. So it's always going to be ultimately the judge who places the young person where they place them.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We will move on now to a project update from our team with the multimedia project. We are almost out of time in our meeting, but I think you can make your presentation.
Pretty quick.
I don't want to push you guys off.
So we kind of just want to talk about the roles that we kind of have thought of for the newspaper and podcast and the blogs that we want to create for the commission, and then just gauge kind of the commissioner's interest for what kind of roles you might want to participate or volunteer in.
And we probably don't have a lot of time for a full discussion, but I love the idea of you introducing the topics and maybe pointing out some key areas where commissioners could deliberate and think about and come back with some feedback.
Yeah, and we definitely also we're trying to create something so we can get like kind of topic ideas from people, from the commissioners and maybe also from the public. We can talk about that.
I think the commission can expect a Google form or something. Coming forward.
Excellent, good. Some homework.
And then we can go over kind of like the formats that we have in mind. So for the newsletters, we were just thinking like monthly updates that we can send out to people that would like to see that. And it could be like stakeholders or like community members that are interested in that. And it would we would reach out to the county to how we would consider that and what kind of things we want to write for that. You want to go over the podcast?
Yeah, sure. So a podcast is just kind of more interviews, talking with system partners, commissioners here, just something slightly more informal, but a bit more community centered. And I can also go over the blogs, which unlike the newsletter is a bit longer, just so people can understand the system better, understand maybe more of what we talk about here in the meetings, and yeah, a bit more professional.
And then the roles are kind of similar for the newsletter, podcast, and blog, but they're mainly like someone to produce most of the content, and then someone to kind of like review that kind of what has been created so that we also stay on schedule. and then also making sure that it gets publicized. So this is some of the kind of ideas for some of the rules we wrote up for the newsletter. And then I don't know if you want to go into detail, but
Yeah, similarly with the podcast, obviously, the podcast team has like some slightly different stuff. For example, editor, we'd probably need someone who's familiar with some sort of software in order to edit the episodes. But marketing in general would stay the same. It's just social media content, some outreach, maybe getting it on the website, that sort of thing. And the leads generally, that's obviously the most work. You do the interview, you prepare the questions, you do the research and that kind of thing. So that's mostly probably going to be the commissioners who are on the project currently. But if anyone's like interested in leading an episode, we'd be more than willing to have you on.
and then for the blogs, it's kind of similar to newsletter with someone like taking the lead on writing and then reviewing, and then also for like promoting it as well. So the timeline, we're hoping to kind of be able to create teams or like groups of people that could be able to work on this in the future in like the next 1 to 2 months, and then maybe like starting the process on one of these and then continuing with the rest, and reviewing and evaluating and changing the processes as we move on.
One last thing I'd like to speak on in terms of roles that I forgot to mention. In terms of community involvement, if anyone in the community would be interested in working on a blog, we'd be more than happy to have them, or if they'd be interested in being interviewed or something, that can come with the Google form.
Yeah, and we'd love to have like any people that can help and like bring in the community or like other members as much as possible. And then we also want to make sure that it's all of the formats that we've created are as accessible as possible, especially in our diverse community with like language barriers or like other things related to that. I think that should be. Oh yeah, this is just kind of like the ideas that we want to like gauge topic ideas from commissioners and maybe the community as well.
Thank you. One of the things that we talked about with Commissioner Rasmussen is the importance of confidentiality and the fact that we're developing a process here. And as we develop the process, we'll all be touching base with the team to make sure that we are always very vigilant about not disclosing anything that could be confidential information. Also, I really loved in one of the iterations of your proposal that you talked about one of the objectives of these exercises is to create a culture of compassion. And I thought that that was just a really wonderful way to look at the work that you'd be doing, which is to help humanize and individualize and make the issues that we know about real outside of the commission. So I don't want you to lose sight of that because I really think that that was a powerful statement that you made.
Yeah, I think we would really want to like have the understanding that we as a commission have for the youth in the system to like spread that and be able to share with the rest of the community for sure.
Yeah, wonderful. And I think in terms of commissioners who have put their hand up to help out with this, Chair Rasmussen's been involved. I'm happy to continue to be involved. And I think Commissioner Ginevro, you had mentioned that you would also like to be involved. And obviously anybody who would like to pitch in with ideas for articles and interviews and everything else, it's open.
Just like something to give a bit more clarity for anyone who would like to be involved. So right now, for blogs, we're just going to be kind of in a pre-writing phase. So there's obviously room to get involved right now because when you have blogs, you have to have some in advance so that you don't miss any publications and all that. So in terms of writing, you can just shoot like Commissioner Ling, me, Commissioner Nicholas, and we can all like get something sorted. For the podcast, same thing. We're planning on getting the first episode out late August. So just an email and we can work something out.
I will look into the county to see if we can add a button on our website to submit ideas once this is up and running, so the community could submit ideas for topics and whatnot. What I love most about this is that it's coming from the youth on the commission, and so through their lens about what's happening in the juvenile justice system. So I think that's beautiful. We're also conducting this project, just for clarity for the record, as the Juvenile Justice Commission, so we don't have to worry about Brown Act violations and too many folks working on one thing, and then, we don't have to deal with that because this is a Juvenile Justice Commission project.
I had a quick question. Do you have any thoughts or ideas as to what the first blog or what the first podcast could be? Sorry.
Yeah, I can speak about that. So some of the stuff we've had going on, some ideas were, obviously we first thought that we could like interview system impacted youth, which is like a big no-go. But generally we were thinking commissioner spotlights, something to do with like, for the article updates, it's like, stuff like Judge Sharon Cho, who's been moved off of the juvenile justice court, and something similar to that. We have a running list of topics, but it's just that general idea.
And I think we're also considering like maybe like writing about or like communicating about like some of the work that our system partners do and like how they contribute to the rehabilitation of our youth.
Have you also thought about writing about legislation that like might be new or particularly relevant to?
For that, we think it's definitely something we'd like to look into, but it's also something we'd like someone who has experience or like some knowledge about it to work on. We don't want to like get anything wrong because obviously we're kind of new as commissioners, and we can definitely like lead into that. But if anyone who has more experience is willing to write something that they're interested about, we'd love to hear.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea because I think there's definitely like some community interest in like legislation, kind of how what will look like.
And that can be a standing topic, right, in the newsletter or when something passes in legislation. Yeah, I also think that there's going to be issues that come up countywide that we can focus on, like right now with the collapse of Star Vista. Like we have youth who were living at Daybreak who had 24 hours notice that they had to move. That's an issue that affects our kids in the community. And so that is an issue, and filling those service gaps, right? Because now everybody's scrambling to find out, okay, so that would be a perfect place to write an article, a blog, and maybe even interview some providers some stakeholders about what the impact of Star Vista collapsing means for the county as a whole and for residents.
Through the chair, I do want to mention to the commissioners that every other month, the county's legislative director does provide an update on the federal legislative efforts to the Board of Supervisors. So you're more than welcome to look at the agenda item when it comes up. Then you can use that to see, if there's any legislative actions pertaining to your justice juvenile.
Would you mind repeating who does that?
Oh yeah, Connie Juarez, she's the legislative director, right? And then I think, for example, the next BOS meeting will have that update on there. So you can look at the board items and then it'll come up there.
Thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I think, we're almost at the end of our meeting time, and we still have matters of commissioner interest. I don't know if Chair Rasmussen, if you had any topics that you wanted to raise before we close the meeting.
I did not. I just had some announcements, 2 announcements, but I'm not sure if anyone
We can
else.
move to announcements
Okay.
then. Let's do that.
Okay.
That's
So
important.
the announcements is next month, the Manzanita room needs to be utilized by another group. So we will not be meeting in the Manzanita room next month. We will be meeting at the College of San Mateo in our old meeting location. And for those who aren't sure where that is, we'll make sure that you get that information, and that'll be posted on the agenda as well. So that's big information for next month. And we are also still waiting to receive 3 replies for the retreat. Right now, the biggest group is only 4 folks who can attend on one day. So we're still waiting for 3 commissioners to submit that form, and then we will secure that date and publish it as soon as we have it.
Okay, so if we can have a commitment from the 3 who have not responded to please respond tonight, and then we will look for the date that has the most responses, and hopefully people can shift things around and try to make it happen. Because it's like a summit meeting, we're we're gonna try to do this. And I know that we talked about some dates there, Commissioner Rasmussen, so we'll make it happen.
Thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. It is
Oh,
7:14.
To the chair, I have a couple announcements.
Oh, okay.
So one, wasn't able to report. We did meet, Education Committee. Hopefully we'll be able to be put on the agenda next month, so we can give a full report on that. The announcements I do have to mention is the San Mateo County Alcohol and Other Drug Prevention Program is hosting a series of sessions. Their first one, it's their strategic planning meetings. The dates are August 6th, 1 to 4. The second one is the objectives. The first one is on data on Monday, the 25th of August, same time, 1 to 4. And the third and last one is on programming on the 22nd of September, 1 to 4. And this is being held at 310 Harbor Boulevard, Building E, Autumn Room. I will be sending the information out to see if any of you would like to RSVP. And the other announcement I have is I'm on the email list for the Youth Law Center. They put out a summary on the harmful, it's going to be the harmful aftermath of the new federal law that's going to cause harm to our children and youth in foster care and juvenile justice. They prepared a summary and action plan. I will forward this information to all of you as well. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Commissioner Blanco. And it is now 7:15, so perfect timing. I will now close the meeting. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate your dedication and your collaboration. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. And I'll go ahead and restart the next meeting.